guys, what's going on? Today we are going to talk about veganism and vegetarianism. Michael is going to be doing a lot of the talking because he knows way more than I do.
The facts and the health benefits, and I've studied a lot. But yeah, we're just here to talk about our experiences, the health benefits, why we do it, and we'll get into pretty much everything.
Before you watch the entire video, make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to our channel. If you guys have any questions during the entire video, because I said Michael's going to be doing most of the talking, できるだけ日本語で、訳して、載せるんですけど、完璧には訳せないと思うので、もし何かちょっとわからなかったこととか理解できない部分とかあったら、ぜひコメントで残しておいてください。Throughout this video, if you guys have any questions, make sure you guys address it in the comments below so we can get back to you.
So before we start, we just want to say we are not doctors, we are not nutritionists. This is everything that I have researched. It doesn't mean that it's 100% true. You know, it's just what I found in the studies to be true. And it's, like I said, our experiences. So before you start any new diet, make sure to consult your doctor or physician or whoever before starting any new diet. First, we'll get into the different types of veganism. And first of all, what veganism is the complete exclusion of animal-based products. There's three main types, and the first one is pescatarian, and what that is you do not eat any meat besides fish. The only animal products that you consume are fish and then dairy. Vegetarian is no meat and no fish, and the only animal products that they consume are dairy products. Vegan is absolutely zero animal products, so no dairy, no meat, no fish.
No honey.
Yeah, no honey, no literally any animal-based products they do not eat. And just before I get into kind of the health benefits and pretty much everything else, I also want to say that there are unhealthy vegans and vegetarians. I recommend a whole foods plant-based diet, and basically what that means is just unprocessed foods. Pretty much if it comes in the package, don't eat it, or try to stay away from it as much as possible.
Yeah, so just because you're a vegan or a vegetarian or a pescatarian does not make you healthy.
Yeah, because you can be eating Oreos and chips all day long. And
because those are vegan.
Yeah, because those are vegan, but it's
doesn't
not,
make you healthy.
Yeah, exactly. It does not make you healthy at all. This was kind of a big reason for me, and that's the health benefits. And I can probably talk about this for 2 hours about just the health benefits alone. But kind of just to summarize is first I'll talk about the blue zones. So the blue zones are areas of the earth where there are certain cultures or religions, and they follow primarily a vegan or vegetarian diet, and about 95% of their diet consists of whole food plant-based diet. And they have the largest group of centenarians, and that's kind of like a real world example. Instead of like looking at these studies or whatever, a blue zone is a thing that you can look at, and it's a real life example of why you should follow a whole food plant-based diet. So like a lot of these studies that are down in the description are kind of big. It's called a meta-analysis, and that's basically where they look at all these studies and they see what these individual studies are showing. And one of them, so vegans have the healthiest BMI, and a BMI is your body mass index, and vegans are the only group that are actually within a healthy range. Again, this is for America, not Japan or not any other country, but that is a big one because that means that everyone else is overweight. Even vegetarians are considered overweight on average. They have the lowest risk of the metabolic syndrome. They have less hypertension, which is your blood pressure. They have lower diabetes risk, lower osteoporosis risk, and lower mortality rate, lower rates of cancer, and they have lower rates of heart disease. Basically what all this means is that if you look at the top 10 killers in America, you can prevent 9 of them just from following a whole food plant-based diet, and the only one that you can't is accidents, such as car accidents or any accidents related to whatever. But the other 9 you can completely prevent with a whole food plant-based diet, and this is what I think is important, and this is what I think is crucial now, because obesity is such a big problem in the world, and if it can be followed with just eating healthy and involving less killing of animals, then it's like, why not follow it? The next one is reduce carbon footprint. for reducing carbon footprint, like I said, all the links are below. Great movie to watch is Cowspiracy, and it can be found on Netflix. And all the studies that goes into the movie can be found at cowspiracy.com/facts. And again, that will be linked below. So the reason why is animal agriculture is responsible for 18% of the greenhouse gas emissions, and that is more than the combined exhaust from all transportation. You might be thinking why that is, and it's basically cow farts and pig farts. They produce methane gas, which is more toxic to the environment than any other gas and any other exhaust from cars or planes or whatever else. The livestock and byproducts account for at least 32 million tons of carbon dioxide per year, or 51% of all worldwide greenhouse gas emissions. And that ties into what I was talking about, the whole methane gas. And the reason why is methane gas is 25 to 100 times more destructive than CO2 on a 20-year time frame. Animal agriculture is also responsible for 80 to 90% of US water consumption. And a lot of these facts are going to be having to deal with the US. Another big thing about animal agriculture is the livestock or the livestock feed. So the soybeans, the grain, occupies 1/3 of Earth's ice-free land. Pretty much any land that is usable for livestock or livestock feed, 1/3 of that, of the entire Earth, is used for livestock and livestock feed. Animal agriculture is the leading cause of species extinction, ocean dead zones, water pollution, and habitat destruction. We can also see fishless oceans by 2048 due to all the excretion that has been pumped out into the rivers, being pumped out to the streams, eventually leading to our oceans. And a lot of people don't think about that. Think about all the livestock and how much they poop. And then what are you gonna do with that poop? You can't just put it in the ground. So they put it all into the lakes and the rivers and the streams. With all that poop, it's very, very bad for the environment. Very bad. And so you can think, like, why would being a vegan or a vegetarian do for that? And basically it comes down to supply and demand. It also comes down to the amount of land required for a human to consume plants and the amount of land that it takes. The land required to feed one person for 1 year as a vegan would be 1/6 of an acre for all your crops to be able to feed yourself. You know,
To feed a vegan.
To feed a vegan, whatever that may be.
Whatever that may be.
Yeah, potatoes, tomatoes, carrots, cucumbers, whatever the hell you want. A vegetarian would be 3 times as much as a vegan, and a meat eater would be 18 times as much as a vegan. A person that follows a vegan diet produces the equivalent of 50% less carbon dioxide, uses 1/11 of oil, 1/13 of water, and 1/18 of land compared to a meat lover for their food. And that again ties into the supply and demand of animal agriculture. If there's less cows, less pigs that you're consuming, the supply is not there, so they won't need that. And you got to think of all the water that goes to the crops, all the water that goes for the drinking, the animals, right? What that one cow has to consume in food and water to
Produce that one patty that we
produce-
have, that we eat
right, that we eat
for one meal.
For one meal, right?
So with the animals, they not only do they have water that they have to consume, but they have to consume all of these other plants that we could be consuming ourselves. They have to eat way more things in order to feed us, whereas we can just go directly to these plants and get these plants ourselves.
You know, a lot of people are worried about the destruction of the Amazon rainforest, and a lot of people don't realize that majority of it is due to animal agriculture. So a lot of people, when they say, you know, palm oil and all this other stuff, that they're destroying the Amazon, and that is true, but majority is for animal agriculture and for the feed to give to the animals. Each day, a person who eats a vegan diet saves 1,100 gallons of water, and again, that's because of all the water that needs to go into the livestock and the livestock feed. 45 pounds of grain, because of all the grain that they eat per day. 30 square feet of forested land, again, when you're talking about the Amazon rainforest and land, you know, throughout their entire world. If there's no animals and there's no animal feed, then
We
you
have
don't.
all that extra land.
We have all that extra land, and 20 pounds of a CO2 equivalent. Again, that's for the methane gas that is
Released into the air.
released into the air from cow poop and cow farts, and one animal's life. And this is every single day. So 1,100 gallons of water, the 45 pounds of grain, the 30 square foot of forested land, 20 pounds of CO2 equivalent, and one animal's life is every single day. And again, all the links are down below. And the last one is the prevention of killing of animals. And a great person to follow when it comes to this is Earthlings Ed, and his name is Ed Winters, and he has a great YouTube channel about the animal rights.
He makes arguments of everything that
you can possibly think about
that argues against veganism.
We'll link a YouTube video down below where he has a TED Talk, and it goes into every single argument, and he pretty much debunks everything in about 15 minutes, about logically, and
very emotional.
It's very emotional. And he had a quote that really stood out to me, and that was, "A meal to us only lasts a few minutes, but that meal has cost an animal its entire life." And that is 100% true. You know, we eat a hamburger without even thinking about the repercussions that that hamburger or that steak has had on an animal's life.
Not even that, but I feel like a lot of Japanese people don't really know or don't really think about the reality of what these animals go through when we have meat on our plates. I was actually one of them too, and not that I'm 100% pescatarian right now. I am trying my best, and I think it's better than not knowing. It's good to actually know these things so that you know what you're putting in your mouth and all the things that happen until it's set on your table for you to eat. I can't watch any of these videos, but if you look up on YouTube or if you look up anywhere on Google about how these animals are killed, not just for meat but even dairy, all the things that all these chickens go through in order to lay eggs, it's really sad, and it's very inhumane the way they kill these animals. So if you guys really want to see, they do have clips on there. Another documentary that we watched was called What the Health. We'll discuss this later on. It is good for you guys to kind of check out to see what actually goes on.
So for me, the reason why this whole thing started was one of the guys that I used to supervise back in the military. He was a vegan for over 10 years, and he kind of told me why he did it, and I did a whole bunch of research into veganism and if I should do it and what are the pros, what are the cons, just everything. And she could tell you I was non-stop just watching YouTube videos and looking up studies of why I should go vegan. Yeah, so I ended up trying it, and I felt amazing. You know, I felt amazing. I watched all these documentaries. Again, we'll talk about those a little bit later. But one of the documentaries, What the Health, that is on Netflix, pretty much got her to become vegan and to try it out. After she watched that, and I know once a lot of people saw that, they decided to give veganism a shot, to at least try it, which is great.
It did take a while for him to convince me, just because I love meat, but at the same time, after watching the documentaries, and there were a lot of facts in there that I had no idea, which I think is the case for a lot of us. Because I had so much love for animals, I love dogs, and I hated other Asian cultures consume dog meat, and they have dog meat festivals. Argue that fact, just because you have so much love for different animals, other places of the world might have different type of food cultures where they consume that. Just like in America, it's okay to eat pigs and cows. In Japan, we eat horses because of the basashi. But in different places of Europe, people have horses as pets. Even in America, people have horses as pets.
And they would never think of eating a horse as a.
But then we say that it was. I mean, this is more for me because this is how I felt. But I was very mad at the people who ate dog meat. But it doesn't really make any sense. Like, I've had basashi before. I've had cow tongue before. It was really hard for me to argue that point when you're not even 100% yourself. It was more for the animal rights than for health benefits. For me, for him, it was more health. So that's kind of how I started doing research, and I started learning more about it. And we actually tried it out for 6 months 2 years ago. And some of the things that I noticed doing the vegan diet, which for 6 months we were strictly vegan. Some of the things that we noticed in our body was my periods were not as heavy. I usually get cramps when I start my period, but it wasn't as bad. My skin was better. I was not breaking out like I used to. Usually when you have a lot of fatty food or when you have too much meat, you get a lot of acne on your face. But I noticed that those were going away when I was vegan for a while. And I could eat till I was full and I wasn't gaining that much weight. Usually when you go to yakiniku, you bloat and you feel like you had so much food. But that's because of all the fat that you're eating from the meat. But when you're vegan, you're not eating anything that comes from animals, so you don't feel that nastiness after you get full. It's more like なんかすっきりお腹がいっぱいになったみたいな感じ。
You know, we can eat pretty much as we possibly can, and our bloating was reduced by a lot. Our poops were regular, we didn't gain any weight, our skin cleared up, I felt my sleeps were better, I was getting way better sleep. I'd pretty much get up in the morning, I'd be up like right away. My energy levels were constant throughout the entire day. And there's a lot of reasons for all that, and this video would be another hour if I explained all that. And the reason why we stopped is because I deployed somewhere, and in that location it was pretty much impossible for me to maintain the vegan diet. Basically, the only item that I can get that was vegan was a green salad. That was the only thing on the entire menu that I could have ordered that was vegan or vegetarian, and that was the only place I could eat out of where I was. But we started back up again after I got out of the military, and right now we're following a pescatarian diet. We have fish less than once a week.
And then we try not to have, eggs or cheese as much.
Yeah, I don't have dairy pretty much at all. She still consumes some dairy, but I try to stay away from dairy as much as possible. And again, no one, like when you're doing this, no one's perfect. Yeah, what matters is that you're trying and you're generally sticking to what it is. But when we go out to certain places, we're not gonna be like, oh, I can't have that, I'm a vegan.
I know that, like, for me, food connects people, and it's really hard when you don't have any vegan friends. And so when you guys all go out for dinner or go out for lunch, it's really hard to do that when you have a lot of people who are not like that with you, which is why it's important for us to be vegan together, because it would be very hard if you didn't want to be vegan,
right,
and I wanted to, because okay, then are we going to make separate dinners every day? Are we going to not go out to certain places to eat? Like, what if I wanted to go to a barbecue? What if we wanted to do a barbecue outside, grill some meat, and he doesn't want to? So it's one of those things where you have to do it together and you have to support each other, because food is such a big thing between people, and it connects people, it brings people together, which is why, like, we're not going to strictly be hard on ourselves and not eat something because of all the reasons that we just listed. I mean, obviously when we can, we should. And so when we're alone, obviously we're not going to buy meat. Like, whenever we go to grocery stores, we never buy meat. Sometimes you don't really have a choice, and that's okay. Like I said, the most important thing is for you to try and for you to know, for you to have, like, the knowledge. You just always have to educate yourself on these things so that you're aware of it.
Right, and you can make an informed decision about what you want to do and how you want to proceed with your nutrition, because like I said, there is a victim when it comes to this, and there are health benefits, big health benefits, depending on your diet. For us, we say we're like pescatarian or whatever. I just want to eat 95%, whole food, plant-based diet. You'll be more than good, If some of you go vegan and that you guys are strict vegan, that's awesome. If you guys go vegetarian, that's awesome too. Pescatarian, that's great. So this is kind of our experiences and kind of the thoughts that we had ourselves, and this is kind of what we want to convey to you guys. So enough about our experiences and all that. Now we're going to get into kind of the right way to do things and the wrong way to do things.
Like we said earlier, just because you're a vegan does not make you healthy. Just because you're a vegetarian or a pescatarian or you don't consume meat does not make you healthy. A lot of people get that mistaken. So we're going to talk about all the things that you should look out for when you are a vegan, so that you are getting the right nutrition and you are making sure that you get all the vitamins and the minerals and all of that good stuff.
Right, and then if you generally follow the whole food plant-based diet, which is what we're advocating for, then you should have no problem getting this. A lot of people, when they talk about the vegan diet or the vegetarian diet, they'll say, oh, but you're gonna be vitamin deficient. And while it is true to some extent, there are things you can do to prevent that. So the first one is B12, and there's a lot of misinformation when it comes to B12 and exactly where it comes from. But if you're following a whole food plant-based diet, then a lot of people get it from plant milks such as almond milk, oat milk, cashew milk, and soy milk. You can also find it in cereal, or you can do what we do and we just take a B12 supplement. And the reason why I say there's a lot of misinformation is because a lot of people don't know that the animals that you eat from the grocery store get fed supplements themselves, because they're not grass-fed. They don't get the B12 or a lot of other vitamins just from consuming grain and the soy. So why does it make sense for me to eat the meat to get the vitamin when I can literally just have a vitamin myself and get more of it?
And you're sure that you got it.
And you're sure that you got it. In this study that's also below, found that 90% of animals are fed supplements with their diet. So it kind of goes to show you that if you just supplement the B12 yourself, you're way better off anyway. The next one is omega-3s, and omega-3s are usually found in fish. If you're following a whole food plant-based diet, a lot of people have chia seeds, flax seeds, which is what we like to do. We have flax seeds in our smoothies usually. Walnuts, which we also put in our salads, or hemp seeds. With these, it's completely plant-based and you can get all your omega-3s no problem. The next one is zinc, and zinc can be found in whole grains. So instead of eating like your white breads, your white pastas, just make sure you're eating a little bit more whole grain, whole grain breads, whole grain pasta, like brown rice and all that is a good substitution to get your zinc. The next one is iron, and iron can be found in dark green leafy vegetables such as spinach or kale, whole grains as well, lentils, which are almost kind of like beans, peas, and dried fruits. And those are the 4 vitamins and minerals that people kind of need to look out for when they are following like a very strict vegan plant-based diet. Some of the foods that I listed, usually people don't consume those on a regular basis.
So you have to really look out for those.
Yeah, so you have to look out for those. And again, we also take a multivitamin where all these vitamins and minerals are in. And it's as simple as that.
Something that you have to look out for is the calories. よくビーガンとかベジタリアンって聞くとみんななんか野菜とフルーツしか食べないっていうイメージが強いのかなって思うんですけど、だからこそその他にビーガンとして食べれるようなものとかをちゃんと調べて、あとはしっかりカロリーも摂取することが大事になってきます。お肉とかって結構カロリー高かったり、卵とかチーズとかっていうのは結構カロリーが高いので、それだけ摂取するだけでも1日のカロリーを摂取できるけど、やっぱビーガンとかは、野菜フルーツとかもそうですけど、でも炭水化物とかもちゃんと食べれるので、なんかそういうものをちゃんと摂取しながらカロリーもちゃんと取っていかないと、痩せることはいいかもしれないんですけど、あんまり痩せすぎちゃうとかっていうのもあるので、ちゃんとその自分が食べてるものとか食べられるものをしっかり調べて、カロリーをちゃんと1日必要な分を取ることも大事になってきます。
There is a doctor named Dr. Michael Greger. He's one of the leading nutritionists that kind of is a vegan themselves and that looks at all the research when it comes to nutrition. And he has it's called the Daily Dozen, and basically what that is a picture will pop up right here, and it's kind of a checklist of what you should be eating every single day. It's kind of like a good start if you are just starting out to be plant-based, because it will kind of get you in the mindset of what you should be eating for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or snacks. And once you kind of get used to it, then you don't need it. Again, that'll be linked below. Movies can be found on Netflix. So these are all documentaries about being plant-based, vegans, about animal agriculture. And the first one is The Game Changers, and that's for athletes. It kind of gets into a lot of the health aspects, a lot of things that athletes can do and why athletes should follow a vegan diet. But I highly recommend it.
If you play any sports,
yeah,
or if you go to the gym a lot, people go to the gym and they're like, oh, I need the protein.
Yeah, I need the protein from the animals.
So
but
I can't be vegan kind of thing.
Yeah,
like,
and
if you're that kind of person, watch this video.
Yeah, that kind of debunks all of what you would think about that. So another good movie is What the Health, and that has to deal with a lot of the health aspects, just for your general health information.
And then that'll show you a little bit of what the animals go through too.
Yeah, and it does have a little bit of the animal rights in there as well. And the last one is Cowspiracy, and that has pretty much the entire movie. It has the same director and producer as What the Health. That gets into a lot of the animal agriculture part of it, and that's where I found a lot of my facts, and that's where a lot of the facts below is from the website that I mentioned earlier. As far as the animal rights, again, Earthling Ed he has a YouTube channel, and that's one of the best channels to follow. All of his videos are in English. I don't believe they have Japanese subtitles, so sorry about that. He's amazing when it comes to explaining the animal rights side of it.
So that concludes all the information and the research that, well, mostly Michael, but I've done a little bit myself for, over a year, and we never really thought about making a video like this. We've thought about it a lot, and we've been watching a lot of these documentaries. We thought that it'd be good to kind of share with you guys, especially because I know a lot of you guys are Japanese and live in Japan, and it's very hard to find information about veganism, so we just kind of wanted to provide it to you guys firsthand. And although it might be a little bit hard to do in Japan, it is still doable. Like he said at the very beginning, it is slowly growing. More and more people are being aware and becoming vegan. Just by you not consuming a little bit of meat day by day, you are saving an animal's life. So just always keep that in your mind when you go to the grocery store. It was really hard for me to do sometimes, but after watching this, every single time I would pick up a package of meat in the grocery store, I always think video of these animals getting tortured, and it really helps me to stay off of it. Like we said, it does take a while for you to get into it, and it does take a lot of time and effort and a lot of research too, so that you know what kind of food you can eat. There are a lot of foods out there and restaurants out there for vegans, so go to those restaurants so you know what kind of food you can eat, and just slowly get into it if you're interested. I hope that this video helped you. Hopefully you guys do consider it a little bit. So yeah, let us know what you guys think in the comments.
Thank you guys so much for watching.
Yep, thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure you guys like this video and definitely subscribe, because we talk about a lot of different things, as you guys know.
Yeah, again, if you guys have any questions, just leave them down in the comments below, and we'll try our best to answer them or give you guys video links so you guys can watch someone else who's very knowledgeable about the subject.
Yes.
Talk about it.
Okay, well, I hope you guys are staying safe out there with the whole coronavirus. We are definitely just taking this quarantine day by day and trying not to be bored out of our minds. So I hope you guys are doing the same, and we will see you guys soon.